Hey everyone, this is Dave Korsunski from Heads Up, and today I want to talk about body composition. And very specifically, I want to talk about how you can measure body composition using DEXA scans. I've been doing these scans pretty much twice a year since I started working on my health back in 2012. And for me, as someone who always has to work really hard to keep their weight under control, I needed a really accurate way to measure the changes in my body composition. And I needed to know how my body was responding to different dietary interventions. I needed to know how my body was changing as I adjusted my exercise routine. And I discovered these DEXA scans as the most accurate way to assess overall body composition. Where is the fat? Where is the muscle? How is it changing over the course of weeks, months, and years? So in this video, we're going to talk a bit about how to measure body composition. I'll talk about the traditional way of doing it just with home scales, and then I'm going to introduce the DEXA scan as the most accurate way to get periodic full assessments of your body. And then we're actually going to go to the DEXA scan center here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to show you exactly how you can get a DEXA scan. I'm going to get my own scan done, so you'll see exactly what the process looks like. We're going to talk to the staff at the center. They're going to educate us about what the scan is, how it works. And then the last part of today's video, we're going to show you how you can track the progress of your DEXA scans in Heads Up. And you can see here, the challenge with these DEXA scans, they give you incredible data, but like a lot of our very valuable health information, it's stuck inside paper records and PDF. So when I'm trying to make sense of my body composition changes and I've got to look through 5 or 10 different PDF files, it's extremely difficult to see the trends, and that's where Heads Up comes in. So as the last step, we're going to show you how you can track all of this data in Heads Up, and that's when you really get to see how your body changes. And at 43 years old right now, I'm actually probably heavier than I've ever been in total mass. But because I have the DEXA data, I know exactly how much of those changes have been a direct result of taking fat and turning it into muscle. And that's what the DEXA scan provides. So let's first start with some basics. Many of us have a scale at home. There's lots of scales out there. Some of them are wireless, some of them not. This is one I've been using for 10 years. It does weight and body fat. And it does the body fat using a technique using electrical impedance, which is helpful. And these units can actually get you in the ballpark. The challenge with using scales is they're frustrating, and for a lot of people even discouraging, because when you're stepping on the scale every few days, it just never moves in the way you want it to. That's just not how weight loss works, and they can be a little misleading. They're not always as accurate as you'd like them to be. So you may step on the scale one morning after you've been doing a lot of hard work in the gym and keeping a super tight diet, and you see those numbers go up, and it's really just kind of a punch in the gut, and that can actually be misleading. So these are good for calibrating. They'll get you in the ballpark. I personally step on a scale like this maybe once a week just to get some good biofeedback on what's happening with weight and body fat. And I highly recommend you have one of these to use on a regular basis. With the DEXA scan, I do these about twice a year, every 6 months. They cost about $80 to $100. You just do a Google search, find a DEXA center in your area. We're going to find one about 5 miles from here in Scottsdale. So I'll do these every 6 months, and this is where I get the full breakdown. It shows me how the fat and the muscle mass have changed in different parts of the body. It gives you a full breakdown, muscle mass and fat mass, arms, torso, legs, so you can see exactly how things are moving. That's really important, because even if you weigh the same after 6 months, you have possibly made huge improvements on your body composition, but you just can't see those improvements with this device. And so that's where the DEXA scan really starts to shine. So we're going to do the scan, and then we're going to show you how to actually review the data in Heads Up. I'll say one last thing before we head to the testing center. The other benefit to the DEXA scan is it is able to measure what is called visceral adipose tissue. And that is basically organ fat. It's the fat that's deep inside our abdomen area. It is the most inflammatory type of fat in the body. It's very commonly associated with fatty liver disease. That could be NASH or other forms of fatty liver. You've got all this highly inflammatory fat stored right inside the organs. And the DEXA scan can help you measure that. So if you're dealing with any kind of fatty liver disease or inflammatory condition here, it will show you the visceral adipose tissue. And I can actually see on my own data, and we'll show you this in the follow-up, I can see how my visceral adipose tissue organ fat has come down as I've changed my body composition. And again, when you can see the numbers right in front of your eyes, and you can connect the improvements in the numbers to what you've been doing with your diet and lifestyle and see the results, that's the power that we want to provide you with. That's why I built Heads Up Health. That's what I did for my own health, and that's what I want you to be able to do. So next, we're going to get in the car, we're going to head to the testing center, and we'll pick it up from there. All right, we're here at the DEXA Center in Scottsdale. We're going to get the scan. Like I said, I've been doing these since 2012. It's one of my favorite body composition measuring techniques. We're going to talk to the staff. They'll explain a little bit more about the science and the technology behind the machine, and then we're going to do the scan. So let's check it out.
I'm Sherry Jarvis, and I am the exercise nutrition counselor for Cenegenics, and David has come in here to have his DEXA scan done today. The DEXA scan is considered the gold standard for getting your body composition measured, and so what DEXA stands for is dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, and what is happening, there are two rays of X-ray beams that are going through, and one measures the soft tissue and the other will go with the bone density part with hard surfaces. He feels nothing. It's a very low radiation as far as like an X-ray. You wouldn't even hardly know that it's anything different than flying from Phoenix to New York on an airplane. But it is the gold standard in this way that when you get the results, we can actually see the amount of muscle mass from your right arm to your left arm. We can take a look at your right leg to your left leg, the trunk. We can also break it down by body fat, all the way down into the pounds. So it's very thorough, it is detailed, and pretty exact. So this is, like I said, one of the best ways now to have your body composition tested now.
Cool.
Come on up.
Oh. Done.
How was it?
Enlightening. Probably the first one I did was in 2012, and I've been doing them roughly once a year, sometimes twice a year since 2012. So I've got probably 10 or 12 of these scans. Right from when I first started learning about what health was, how to change my nutrition, how to start lifting weights. So I have my baseline data before any of that started. And I can just see how my body's changed over the last 8 years as my lifestyle has changed, my understanding of health and wellness has changed, and it's just some of the most interesting data that I measure on my overall health.
Okay, so now I'm just getting his results. We're just going to get them printed out.
All right, we're done with the scan. Thank you to Sherry at Cenegenics here in Scottsdale, Arizona. They provide all kinds of different services around optimal health and wellness and longevity and performance. So they did the scan for us. We've got the results here. So the next step is we're going to go back to my office and I'm going to show you how this data can be loaded into Heads Up, because what really makes this powerful is when you can start to see the changes over the course of months and years. That's when you really start to learn your body. So we'll pick it up back at the office. All right, so the last step is to record the data into our Heads Up profile. This is really the most important part because it lets you see how your body is changing over time. So I'm logged into my Heads Up Health dashboard here. If you don't have an account, just create one at headsuphealth.com. And I'm currently on the dashboard. Now to track the DEXA scan results, we're going to click onto the lab results section. And I'm going to open that in a new tab here. And I'm going to filter for the DEXA scan. So you can see DEXA in the filter here. And what you're seeing is all of my historical results from my most recent scan in 2018 all the way back to the oldest ones going back to 2012. So the first thing I'm going to do is enter a few of the results from the most recent scan that I just completed. So all you do is click the Add Biomarkers button, fill in the information here around date and time. And this was actually at about 12:41 p.m. And this was Cenegenics, Scottsdale. So then to enter the results, just click into the test name field and you're going to look for DEXA. And I'm just going to enter a few of the results from the report. I'm mostly interested in the totals. But if you're interested in tracking the breakdown across arms, legs, trunk, and midsection, you can fill these in. So on the totals, I'm just going to add the total fat. And in percent, I'm going to add the total fat in terms of pounds, the total lean in terms of pounds, and the actual total mass. So this is going to give me the total body weight. This is going to give me just the lean muscle mass. This is going to give me just the lean fat mass. And this is going to give me my body fat percentage. These are the numbers I'm most interested in. So from the report on this scan, I was 27.5. The total fat was 55. The total lean was 146.5. And the total mass was 209.1. So that's how you enter the numbers. If you want to add more of these tests, just click the blue button here. Once you have it just so, go ahead and click Save. And that's going to enter the most recent results onto the page here. So how do you interpret this data? Well, the first thing you notice is that my actual body fat percentage has jumped up significantly over the last few years. Now, on the surface, that may be a cause for concern for some people, and it's certainly an area I'll focus on. That's why we also need to look at the rest of these numbers. So for me, you can see that although the percentage has gone up, actually my lean muscle mass is higher than it's ever been, except perhaps this test in July. But you can see I'm at 146.5 pounds of muscle right now, and at one point I was down as low as 139. So there's an additional 7.5 pounds of lean muscle mass that have come on. The work I need to do here is really just bringing down some of the fat percentage. So initially this number might seem high in terms of the jump in total mass and percentage, but I've got a really, really solid lean muscle mass number here, which I'm happy about, one of the highest I've ever had. And with just a few pounds of fat loss, which I'll focus on through low carbohydrate eating, some intermittent fasting, and some heavy training, just with a few pounds lost here, I could actually get to a point where I've got some really nice numbers going. So that's why you have to look at this data in the bigger picture to understand what's driving the total mass numbers and the percentage numbers, and how does that break down. That's how you can calibrate your progress. So that's the DEXA scan in its entirety. This is one of my favorite techniques for testing body composition over time. Again, I try to get them done at least once a year, perhaps twice a year if I'm training, but definitely one of the best methods out there for tracking body composition. And you'll see on the dashboard I still use a traditional scale that can report weight and body fat periodically, and then I use the DEXA scans really just to calibrate and keep myself honest over the long run. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Any questions, support@headsuphealth.com.